Hey everyone, today we're going to take a look at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series RC-1262 Scorch 6-inch action figure. I borrowed this from my friend Kenny, so shout out to him. And as usual, please like, share, comment, subscribe, or even hit the super thanks button. I do appreciate all engagement on my channel. So Scorch is the last Commando in the team, and he comes in the all paper, no plastic packaging, with no deco on the top, render of the figure on the front, and sadly you don't have a plastic window to see into the box. And also, if you're a box collector, this is going to be a little weird alongside the other 3 Commandos on your shelf. On the bottom of the box we have product information. Down the side, cool artwork of Scorch standing heroically. And onto the back, we have a description over here, same render of the character, and more product information at the bottom. Onto that last side, Scorch is standing vanilla, and he just comes with one blaster rifle. And there's also an indication of the plastic-free packaging at the bottom. And of course, the usual gaming grades branding on the top as well as the front of the box. So now let's go ahead and get him open. Out of the box, the figure is held by a cardboard insert. There's a smaller baggie down the front of the figure. This is taped to the back of the box. The figure is wrapped up in that tracing paper with the gaming grades and Star Wars printing on it, and strangely his feet are sticking out. So I'm just gonna free him from the cardboard insert, slipping him out, undoing and unwrapping. And here we have the figure. Smaller baggie with his accessories, has a notch over here so you can just easily tear it open to reveal his backpack as well as his rifle. His backpack is cast in a white, flat plastic, yellow and gray paints for the panel detailing, so that looks really striking against the white. This backpack builds on the standard Commando backpack by having 2 towers down the side. Towers are also nicely painted with gray and the blue around the ring at the top. It's nice to see that it's also painted on the inside. And over here we have this T-shaped peg that slots firmly into the back of the figure. So he looks pretty great with his backpack on. I like how the 2 towers stick out, pretty faithful to the character design, and it also makes him look quite badass. His rifle is also a unique sculpt. Once again, it also builds on the standard Commando blaster rifle with a new sort of scope that's attached on the side. Nice paint applications for the grays and whites to make his weapon really stand out as a unique piece amongst other Star Wars weapons. And yes, of course, he holds his rifle just fine in his hands. So for the sculpt of Scorch, most of his body is reused from the Bad Batch Hunter body, while his helmet is the same and consistent with the rest of his teammates like Boss, Sev, and Fixer. He's also got a new attachment over here to his right thigh. His overall paint scheme is really striking and eye-catching, so he definitely looks unique in your collection, and also faithful to the character design. However, with that same body sculpt as the rest of his teammates, it's good that he looks consistent with them, but I think he also suffers from the same failings, and that is I do think the entire team should be on a bigger body build for a more chunky, armored aesthetic. Zooming into the figure to have a closer look at his rather stellar paint job, I do like the metallic blue for the visor. It shines really nicely, and it could even pass off as a glowing effect. Black paint down the front of the helmet, and I also have to mention that the helmet is a gray plastic that matches the gray paints on the rest of the figure quite well. The front of the helmet is also painted in white, with a good bit of weathering for the white scratches over here at the top of the helmet. And as you go around the sides and the back, you will see a metallic gray applied for some of the features and panels, as well as a white stripe down the back. Main torso of the figure is a white plastic, once again given that nice flat black paint, so it lends the figure sort of like a stealthy aesthetic and matches the gray plastic on the helmet and on the shoulder pads. The white paint is also neatly applied on the shoulder pads, with once again some gray and white weathering and scratches. The bicep is a black plastic with gray paint once again for the armor, while his forearm is a yellow plastic with black and gray paints and sculpted detail on the gauntlets. His hands are a black plastic with a yellow plastic attachment for his armor plate on the back of the hand. There's also similarly some weathering patterns of brown paint on his torso. I also do like the separations of the white yellow and gray on his leg armor. Very clean, but also at the same time looking painted by the trooper himself. On his right thigh, he's got an attachment over here, and this is cast in a black, flexible and soft plastic with white paints for the canisters. There's a red triangle that's painted over here, but that looks a little messy on this copy. And once again, moving to his lower legs. Again, the combination of the yellows, grays, and whites looks really nice. And he even has paint on his feet. So overall, this is quite a pleasing paint scheme for the figure. He also looks faithful to the character color scheme and design from the game. But I do wish he could have used some more unique sculpted elements. We move to articulation, and he's got two ball joints, one at the top of his neck and one at the bottom. So you can spin his head 360, getting very nice sideways tilting for a guy in an armor. He doesn't get much downward looking range because of this frontal sculpt of his helmet, and he gets just that much upward range. Swivel hinge at the shoulder with his shoulder armor keyed into his joint, so it travels together with the arm as you spin it all the way around, and it does have a very good range coming outwards beyond 90 degrees. He's got a swivel just above a single hinged elbow, and that goes just beyond 90 degrees and also swings out and in. Swivel hinge at the wrist that goes 360 and also bends in and out, with the outward range slightly limited by that armor pad on the outside of his hand. And once you come to his right hand, he's got a trigger hand. That means it hinges downwards as well as upwards, which is appropriate. Ball hinge at the torso for a 360 spin, getting some good sideways tilting as well. And the forward and backward range is also acceptable. Ball joints at the hips, and he goes quite far out for a guy in armor. Also quite a workable range. Moving forward and backward, you would need to swivel his thigh swivel to get his armor out of the way to get extra range. And of course, he's got a thigh swivel for you to spin his leg in and out. Swivel above a single hinged knee. The range is pretty decent, beyond 90 degrees, and that means you can also swing his leg out and in. Hinge at the ankle for that much upward range and downward range, and the ankle also gets pivot outwards and inwards. So with the same body sculpt as the rest of his teammates and Hunter, we do get an articulation scheme that we're more than familiar with, and this figure actually poses pretty well. Might be a little top heavy because of his backpack, but he still stands nicely on your shelf. Size-wise, Scorch stands at just above 6 inches, and that's just under 15.5 centimeters. For some size comparisons, here he is with Cad Bane and Wrecker, the Clone Trooper and a Stormtrooper, and with Luke and Ahsoka. For comparisons with other lines, here he is with G.I. Joe Classified Series, and some Marvel Legends. The paintwork on this figure is great. I didn't play the game and have zero attachment, but I can say Scorch looks marvelous as a standalone figure. However, with the increased price point, he costs just as much as a deluxe, and a kick-ass paint job alone just doesn't justify the price, especially when he's on mostly reused sculpt. If you're already 3 Commandos deep, then this one will complete your team. But to me, that's the only legit reason to get this one, or if you find him on deep clearance. Please like and share this video, let me know what you think in the comments below, subscribe to my channel, or even hit the super thanks button. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay safe.